Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Susie Jane Designs. First of all, let me start off by apologizing for my sporadic posting schedule. It's not because I haven't had time to do my videos, it's actually quite the opposite. I've been so busy crafting just like everything under the sun that I haven't left time for editing my videos. Anyway, in today's video, I'm going to be doing some Halloween Disney dupes. Yay! These were super fun to make, and of course, my children enjoyed them as well.
Yay!
And you'll actually see in some of the video that the baby also likes to paint next to mommy. So it's really fun. Anyway, so I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're new to my channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell next to it so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. Oh, also, all of the items that I use in today's DIYs were from Dollar Tree. So Disney dupes from Dollar Tree. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's just jump into the project.
Okay, so for this first project, I just Googled Disney spells and I found these pages on Pinterest. I just printed them out on my regular printer and then I cut each one of the pages out. Then I just took a book. This particular one had like the torn edges, which I thought was perfect for this project. So what I'm doing is starting with this first page. I'm putting it towards the beginning of the book and I'm just going to Mod Podge it in place. Now I didn't put any Mod Podge on top just yet, and you'll see why here in just a second. So for this particular project, I wanted to use my watercolors. So I am taking some black watercolor paint and I'm going around the edges of the page. And then I just kind of continued this process with various different colors that I thought looked good with the page. And I used my water to kind of dilute it, even on the page. It's perfectly fine if you spray the page. But yeah, I just went through and painted it how I felt it looked aged, but also included a little bit of color. You don't have to have fancy watercolors like I do, you really don't. You can buy watercolors from the dollar store. You can even use acrylic paint. Or if you don't want to paint it at all, you can definitely leave it plain. I also wanted to use some of my metallic watercolors just to give it a little bit of a sheen. Again, you don't have to do this. They don't really have glittery watercolor paints at the dollar store. But if you wanted it to have a little bit of shimmer, you could 100% get the glitter from the dollar store and add it on there, or sequins, whatever works for you. I honestly kind of wish I would have added a little glitter or something to it just to make it a little more sparkly. But you know, I'm happy with how it turned out in the long run. Now, I did do this to a lot of the pages. I just didn't want to show you guys me watercolor painting every single page. So this is the only one that I really show you what process I go through. And I just use a bunch of different colors and I use the page that I'm painting as the inspiration for what other colors I use. And hopefully that'll make sense once you see the other pages. Now, once that page was dry, I actually wanted to put the rest of my pages toward the middle of the book, so that way if I display it open, I just felt like that would look a little bit better. So all I did was put Mod Podge on the back of the pages and glue them down in the center of the book, and I just went page by page. And as you can see, the baby was also doing her own painting project at the same time, because that's how we work around here. But anyway, I just went page by page for each one of those spells and just Mod Podge them down and left them alone. No Mod Podge on top yet. Now, I would definitely recommend Mod Podging all the pages down first before you go back and paint them. I just felt like that was a smoother process for me personally so that I could put my Mod Podge away and then just have all of my paint stuff out at the same time. But it's totally up to you what order you want to do this in. Next, I went ahead and Mod Podged the paper to the front cover. And then on this one, I did add a layer of Mod Podge over the top. Once that Mod Podge was completely dry, I did take out my modeling clay that I got from Dollar Tree. Now, I chose to use my red modeling clay because I thought that that little peak of color that matched the apple would be really cool. In retrospect, I really just should have stuck with black or brown or something like that, but you live and you learn. So basically what I did was I took about half of my stick of modeling clay and I pressed it onto the upper edge of the book. Now, one thing you do want to be careful of is make sure that you open your book and find out where your clay is going to need to be positioned so that your book can still open without that clay being in the way. I just used the end of a paintbrush to kind of, position my clay, get straighter lines, remove pieces that I didn't need. And I also used it to create a little curl at the upper corner in the center there. And then I also pressed it into the clay to make kind of a design. So hopefully you can see what I'm talking about there. It's kind of hard to explain. And then I just repeated the same process on the other side of the book, trying to make them as even and uniform as possible. So I think from this angle you can kind of see a little bit better how I make the designs with the end of the paintbrush. And here you can kind of see close up how those indentations look. Next, I have these like raised metallic keyhole stickers that I got from Dollar Tree, and my daughter's just helping me pick one and figure out how we want it to be positioned on the front of the book, and just glued it in place. So this next step is actually one of my most favorite things to do because it makes such a huge difference in these projects. You're just going to take some tissue paper. I went with black, but you can use white if you'd like. And I'm just taking little pieces and using Mod Podge, and I'm not laying the tissue paper down flat. I want it to kind of have those ridges, and I'm putting it all around the edge of the cover of that book, including up by the modeling clay. Now, one of the things that I find really important here is to make sure that you repeat the same process on the binding of the book. The only reason I say this is important is because those words are indented in, so you'll still see them when the project is finished if you don't cover them as well. Now, this is what the cover of your book should look like once the stage is complete and that Mod Podge is all dry. So next I took my black Waverly chalk paint and I just covered not only the modeling clay but also the tissue paper. Again, you want to make sure that your Mod Podge is completely dry when you complete this step. Next, I went in with some brown acrylic paint and I just went all around the edges. Again, I did wait until the black paint dried before I did this step. I had also painted over that metallic sticker because I felt like it just didn't really go with the design. So now I'm using a gold acrylic paint and I'm going over the detailing of the book. I also took that same gold paint and I very lightly brushed it into the eyes and the nose hole of the apple. Okay, so like I said, I didn't want to show me painting all of those pages, but I will show them to you at the end of the video. But for the next project, we're going to use one of these red apples from Dollar Tree. All I'm doing is taking my hot glue gun and creating drips. And in between each, I guess you would say cycle, I let the hot glue dry and then I would put another layer on top of it to give it that really dimensional look. You just want to keep repeating this process until you have it looking the way that you want. I did use the apple on the front cover of the spell book as kind of a guide as to what I wanted my drips to look like. Once my hot glue was dry, I covered only my hot glue with my Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. Now, once my black paint was completely dry, I wanted to show a lot of dimension for the poison part. So I used 3 different colors of green acrylic paint, and I started with the darkest color on the bottom, and then I just built up each color of green, really focusing that lighter color towards the tips of where the poison would be dripping down. And as you can see, the baby really likes to paint with mommy as well. The only problem is that she likes mommy and daddy to actually paint her pictures for her. Now on a majority of my projects, I actually use matte Mod Podge, but on this particular one, I really wanted that poison to look fresh, like it was running and really liquidy. So I covered it in a gloss Mod Podge. And now these Disney dupes are done.
She's waiting for love to be realized. I'll send her my heart covered as a gift, and hope that you'll take it into her side.
That's it for today's video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And until next time, I'll be seeing you. That was fancy, wasn't it?
Yes.
First, I would like to say I'm sorry that... Julia, shut up!
Alright, I'll get her.
She doesn't like you. I don't think that's a smart idea. Come here, dog.
Julia!
I got you, honey.
Outside! You gotta take it outside, girl.
I got you.
Out!
Kisses.
Just put her outside. What's the
Give me
point?
kisses, monkey.
Get out of here, rat. Okay, let's try this again. Everyone quiet. Including you guys out there. Zip it.
I'll bring you back in. Oh my god. Patience.
You guys stole it all a long time ago. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Susie Jane's Design. Why did I?
The one time you did get it.
Is that the recycle truck now?
Yeah, which is way louder than the stupid argument, guys.
And the dog.
Yeah.
And your plickety plickety flack.
they always sound like that? Do they always have terrible brakes?
I think maybe it's
It's
just.
like a safety issue.
I think maybe it's just because the car is so heavy, it like makes it screech down on her bottom.
Maybe. Okay. What was I saying? Who knows? Disney Dupes! Mwahaha.
Well,
Slippery.